Hey, what's going on everyone? Today we have the patch notes for patch 16.5. Oddly enough, this is a really big patch. As you can see from the preview here, we have buffs to Aphelios, Ashe, Graves, Orianna, Rek'Sai, and Yasuo for the 2 costs. For 3 costs, we have Darius, Mundo, Jinx, LeBlanc, Leona, Malzahar, Sejuani, Vayne, and Zoe. And then after that, we have Aatrox, Nasus, Aurelion Sol, Sylas, Zillion, and T-Hex. I love how they put Nasus over here by the 5 cost because they said at the beginning of the set, the Shurima units, they're all 5 cost units in terms of strength, even though Renekton and Nasus are 4 cost units. By the way, they did buff 3 7 cost units, but did you also know that there are 6 7 cost units? I'm not even kidding, you can look that up yourself. But after that, we have Arcanist, Noxus, Void, and then the Darkened Staff, and then 13 augments are being buffed. You know what's weird about the staff? I'm pretty sure it's not even that bad in the stats. I remember looking up all the darkened items before, and they all have pretty good average placement, but obviously the staff doesn't work on too many champions. I bet a lot of this win rate is just because they got the item from Ornn. It's not actually because they used the staff from the beginning, but pretty much because there are no like melee AP units, the ones I could think of are like Gwen, Thresh, and Fiddlesticks. I guess Echo can use it too, but none of these fit in like Slayer, Darken comps, right? Because when you play Darken, you're probably going to be playing Slayer because of Aatrox. So there just aren't too many combos that work. Being nerfed is going to be Bel'Veth, Swain, and Yunara. Those are 3 comps that were at the top of the tier list on bunnymuffins.lol/meta last patch, but those are being nerfed. They're also nerfing Demacia, Ixtal, Darkened Scythe, Flicker Blades, and then 4 augments. Lastly, they're adjusting Lucian and Senna, Mel, and both Banal bounties. All right, let's see what they have in store for us. They got a nice little client update. Starting this patch, you'll be able to download the patch and launch TFT directly from the Riot Client Game Hub, and you'll also be able to add new desktop shortcuts for TFT or quickly launch it from the sidebar. I don't know about you all, but for some reason in my regular League of Legends client, it takes me like 10 clicks to load into the game. Like, I don't know if that's the same for everyone else, but literally from the login screen, it takes me a lot of clicks. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a me thing, but we have some system changes. Sylas, sell 2-star Garen, Lux, and Jarvan is being changed to sell 2-star Garen and Jarvan and reach level 9, so that's a different win con or unlock con. This is definitely going to make it easier to get because you pretty much need to reach level 9 anyways in order to fit Sylas onto your board a lot of times, and not having to get Lux 2-star definitely makes this a lot easier. It also opens up a lot of the Arcanist builds because now you can keep your Lux without selling her, so you could do like a duo carry between Sylas and Lux. I heard in the next patch they're going to make a lot of unlock conditions very easy to get. I don't know if you all saw my opener guide on my website, but pretty much I say in this guide, and we go over literally everything. Like, this is such a long guide. Pretty much I talk about how the set's not really flexible, even though there are a lot of comps that are viable. It really just depends on your opener, and then you just hard force from the beginning of the game. That's very true of this set because of the unlock conditions. Like, you can't flex into like a Kai'Sa board, but I heard they are fixing that in the next patch, so it's going to be a lot more beginner friendly after that. Next one up we have are the large changes though. We have Arcanist team-wide buff. This is going to be nerfed at 2 Arcanists, buffed at 4 and 6. So they definitely want people going deeper into Arcanist and also not having it be just like a splash trait. The AP per individual units is going to also get buffed up at 4 and 6 Arcanists. So that's pretty big. We might see some 6 Arcanist comp come out, especially with the Sylas changes as well. I don't know if these buffs are going to be big enough. It doesn't seem like they will be. So I don't know if you're going to be giving LP away if you are going to be playing Arcanist. What I like to do is do like a data check right before I play. Whenever there's a new patch out, I just go to traits, you type in Arcanist, and then you'll be able to know on the new patch. This is the old one right now, but on the new patch when this updates, the patch is dropping on the 19th, but you'll pretty much know where 6 Arcanist stands after that. Speaking about giving away stuff, I am going to be doing a giveaway on my Facebook. I pretty much just made it, but I'm going to have 6 Chibi ribbons. All you have to do to participate in this giveaway is to go to this post, like it, share it, and follow the page for a chance to win. Right now, there are just 2 followers because this is a pretty fresh account, so you have a pretty high chance of winning if you do go to this post. But let's get back to the patch notes. We have Demacia resistances being reduced at 5 and 7 Demacia. We have Ixtal The play for X rounds requirement is going to be changed from 3 to 15, so that's going to be a lot more difficult to get. And then have less than 30 health quests, reward being dropped, so it's still going to be a little bit harder to get the big cash outs. It's going to be even more skill intensive then. Wow. I don't know if Ixtal might be worth playing. It already is not worth playing for a lot of beginner players, but now even for like good players, it's going to be rough. Though to be fair, for a lot of good players, they have a lot of other quests they could kind of play around with, but Noxus Otacon bonus is going to be increase at 5 and 7. The HP mod by stage is also going to be increased. So those are two big Noxus buffs. I thought Noxus was already pretty solid. That was mainly just as a mid-game comp, so now their late game hopefully should be a lot better, but Noxus is absolutely disgusting in the mid-game. It's just going to be even more so. I wish they could nerf the early and mid-game, but then buff the late game somehow. That'd be kind of cool. The way to do that, I think, would just be buffing like Mel or like the expensive units. I think that would have been a better way to do it. But Void Royal Husk grants 10% max health. Zon bug fix, units no longer become shimmer fused for the remainder of combat when the Zon unit's health drops to 60% while 5 or 7 is active during the combat round. And then units tier 2, we have Aphelios. Damage is going to be buffed up across the board. They want Aphelios reroll to be a thing. They want a lot of 2-cost reroll to be a thing, actually. So Ashe base AD going to be buffed up. Her arrow damage is going to be reduced to compensate. And then Graves going to be buffed up. Oriana's going to be buffed up. Wow, Oriana reroll could hit pretty hard. And then Rek'Sai going to be buffed up. And then Yasuo also going to be buffed up. I think the biggest beneficiary of these buffs probably going to be Yasuo. He's kind of the most straightforward 2-cost reroll comp. I guess that and maybe Aphelios Bard, those two probably going to be helped out the most by these changes. But I definitely am looking forward to trying to play around with that. I personally really like Bard reroll comps, like the Bruiser reroll and like the Aphelios version, but those were not really meta for a while now. Units tier 3, we have Darius heal is going to be buffed up. Mundo heal per second going to be buffed up. Jinx going to be buffed. LeBlanc going to be buffed. Is this the reroll patch? Because I'm looking at a lot of the 2 and 3 costs being buffed up a bunch. If there's one champion that's been Jinx this set, it's Jinx. Yeah, I agree there too. Leona's buffed up, Malzahar's buffed up, Sejuani is buffed up. By the way, if you ever get Double Trouble, Malzahar Double Trouble is a pretty good comp to play, but another comp to consider is Zoe Double Trouble, Zoe and Leona. That's another pretty deadly comp that I think is going to be back after these changes. So yeah, tons of 3-cost buffs. Vayne's a bit smaller though, she's just for her 3-star version. But for a lot of these other units, they got a lot of other things buffed up. But yeah, 3-cost reroll, 2-cost reroll, I think they're gonna be back. I mean, these are a lot of big changes to a lot of them, because you have to remember, it doesn't have to be one that's really good or one reroll comp that's really good, because the more people that play reroll of a specific cost, the better it becomes. Obviously, some of these are gated behind like the unlock mechanic, so it's kind of in a separate pool, but like Malzahar, Zoe, Vayne, and Jinx, those are all 3-cost units that don't need unlocks, so that's going to be really good for them. Units tier 4, Swain on every board, let's slow him down. Yeah, Swain really, I mean, you give a triple trader, was he Arcanist, Juggernaut, and Noxus, and then he's also an AoE stun unit. Like, come on, like, of course he's going to be played on every board. Like, every AoE stun unit with 2 traits is already played on every board, and they have one of those every single set, so wow, I wonder, is the 3-trader going to be the most played unit ever? Like, probably, right? But Bel'Veth attack speed on takedown is going to be reduced at 1 and 2 costs, which is honestly pretty rough, but this was the best comp of the last patch. Nasus is going to gain some health at 1 and 2 star. Swain is going to be increasing his mana by 10 and reducing his starting by 10. So honestly, a lot of those 1-star Swains are not going to cast a lot anymore. And even a 2-star Swain, you might just need one random item on him to get him to cast. So yeah, Protector's Vow going to be really important on him. Yunara going to get an attack speed buff. Okay. But then AP scaling is going to be, wait, what's going on here? Let's read this because I'm getting confused. These looks like Yunara buffs if I'm not crazy, right? Okay. Yunara, whose hybrid scaling has led to specific best in slot builds that we'd like to be a bit more flexible. Her AP scaling means Titan's Resolve is often one of her best third items because the AP it grants allows her to get more attack speed and even cast more often. Yunara was always meant to be an attack speed AD carry, so we're moving her AP scaling off the bonus attack speed and into additional damage. Oh, I see what they're doing. Okay, so no more attack speed AP scaling, and then you get some AP damage onto your ability, which honestly doesn't mean that much. This is like much lower than whatever AD is from what I recall. But they want you to build stuff like Giant Slayer or even a red buff. Honestly, red buff Yunara should be pretty good. I mean, she likes attack speed and she has an AoE skill, so honestly, I'm surprised red buff hasn't been built more on her, but I guess other items take priority. Next one up, we have our tier 5 units. Aatrox Omnivamp to AD ratio going to be buffed up, so just stack as much healing on him as possible. Aurelion Soul damage going to be buffed up at 1 star, nerfed at 2 star. Lucian and Senna no longer ends prematurely if he is stunned during the ability. Mel Radiant item mana required is going to be dropped by 10. Radiant item progress now only counts while Mel is alive and only during player combats. Silas attack speed is going to be increased by 0.1. Silas cataclysm damage is going to be increased at 1 and 2 star. T-Hex mana is going to be dropped by quite a bit, so that's a very big buff for T-Hex. Holy cow. He might actually be useful this time because he's been super buffed, I think like a couple patches in a row now, but still is finding himself in like the 5.0s. If we check down here, we'll do like 5 costs, scroll to the bottom. Yep, T-Hex 4.96, that's nowhere for a legendary to be. But they're buffing him in a ton of different ways. Like surely when they double the ability damage, it's gonna be better, right? Like, yeah, it has to be viable. I'd be very surprised if it was not. Let's see what they're writing about this. We've got another list of changes for T-Hex that are aimed to allow him to cast more than once, hit his primary target very, very hard when doing so, and not accidentally snipe the backliners. Okay, so they are nerfing him in terms of his fall-off damage, but I feel like he should just be able to nuke the front lines now, right? Like, yeah, maybe you want like IE Giant Slayer or something like that. Just one-tap the tanks. Do you even need a Giant Slayer to kill them? We'll have to see in like one fight. All we need to do is watch one fight and we'll know. T-Hex missile damage is also going to have primary fall-off changes, and then Zillion ability dot damage. This one's going to be nerfed. Or this one's going to be buffed up a little bit. So it's going to be buffed up at 1 and 2 stars. So all the Invoker boards going to be a little bit stronger because Zillion is going to be a little bit better. I don't know if he really needed this. Did they really talk about this? Zillion does feel a little bit weaker than some of the other legendaries, but I always thought of him as like a utility unit, you know? Like that one random unit you play if the opponents have a lot of big tanks, or if you just happen to be running Invoker, you just run him. But I guess it's true. Yeah, he probably needs a buff. If you compare him to stuff like Lucian, you compare him to Fiddlesticks, Shyvana, yeah, Zillion probably is the worst one, right? All right, so core items, Thieves' Gloves removed double burn combinations and made the items combination slightly weaker on stage 4. Artifacts, Darkened Scythe can be buffed by 5, but the damage is going to be reduced by 50%. Darkened Staff ability power going to be reduced by 5, mana regen increased, and then the magic damage is going to be like doubled based on stage. So that's actually a pretty big buff for the Darkened Staff. But I mean, it's just hard to build a comp around it, you know? It's mainly because the Slayers and the melee AP units, they just don't really fit together that much. But I mean, it's not to say this item can't work. It obviously is still going to be good. Maybe you just play it and forget about Slayers. That's probably what you're supposed to do. Flicker Blade's attack speed per attack can be dropped by 1%, and then Augment's Aura Farming unlock round is going to be changed from 4.5 to 4.2. Was this really not strong enough? Because this gives like, I thought they buffed this a little bit, but wow, 4.2, that's going to be really strong now. Why don't they do 4.3? They had this issue last set where they did a very similar change. They like increased it by 2 rounds, and then it became OP. I don't remember exactly what they changed about it before, but I feel like 2-star legendary on stage 4-2 is very, very nice to have. Arcane Victory stun is going to be 18 seconds into combat instead of 20 seconds for the second one. And then Ascension damage amp, 45 to 40. Bandle 1 and 2 is going to be exclusive from Invested Plus Plus and Growth Mindset. Best Friends, 1 armor and 2 armor being buffed. Big Friend now grants a giant spell. Ooh, that's actually a really big buff. This is really good in reroll comps because you get a 3-star unit that's going to become a Big Friend. So both your main carry and your main tank are going to be buffed up by that, but now you get an item component. That actually sounds pretty good. Component Heist now grants an initial random component. Yeah, this needs buffs. This probably is enough, but it just feels weird to just use an expensive augment to take a few rounds off to just get a bunch of items. You don't really need items in stage 4 that badly for your stage 4 augment, which is why this is a little bit weird to use. It's really good in comps that need a lot of units itemized, but in TFT you mainly concentrate on just a couple of units. Crash Test Dummies stun radius 1 to 2 hexes, but the stun duration is going to be reduced. The dummies are now better at finding large clumps to stun. Crown's Will AP 12 to 8, armor being nerfed to 10 to 6. It will also grant a chain vest now, so it's going to be a little bit different. So this is the one that gives you a needlessly large rod and your team gets AP and armor, but it's also just going to give you a chain vest now. So you get 2 item components for a gold augment plus stats. That sounds really, really good. Am I crazy in thinking that? Dragon Guard's Jarvan damage is going to be reduced and nerfed. Dumbify gonna get more health per stage. Gain a random non-tank 2-star 2 cost. Wait, Dumbify is going to be OP now. Am I crazy in thinking that? So when do you want to take Dumbify? You want to take Dumbify when you're playing a comp that doesn't really have many tanks. And you also want to play it when you don't have many units on your board when you get Dumbify. Because you don't actually want like a huge dummy. Like the difference between 10 million HP and 11 million HP isn't that big. So you want as few units out there as possible so that you have more gold. So maybe there's an Arcanist comp with Dumbify out there. Like you go maybe 6 Arcanist plus Dumbify. You get your tank from the dummy, and then you just get all the damage from Arcanist. That sounds like it would be pretty viable. Then you run 1 extra Defender. It also gets a resistance buff from Defender, like the team-wide buff. Like that sounds pretty good to me. And then now you also get a non-tank 2-star 2 cost. Like that sounds very good to me. You get a nice little carry. You don't have to roll as much after you take this. Yeah, that just sounds really, really good to me. Earth Axiom, Armor and MR gain being buffed up. Stun duration being buffed, and then focus fire initial AD being buffed. I've honestly never taken this, but maybe I should. Better tailoring to not appear for teams with many AP champions. Gilded Steel number of 5 cost 3 to 2. Golemify health per stage 1000 to 1200. Golemify gain a random non-tank 2-star 3 cost. So similar changes there. Hard commit gold per stage 7 to 4. Wait, they're nerfing hard commit? Wow, that's crazy. I thought hard commit was like a beginner augment. Maybe it was doing too well at higher ratings, which is why they are nerfing it, because I thought they normally don't touch these augments that much. Hefty rolls excluded from Prismatic Ticket, and it now also grants 5 additional gold. Healing Orbs 2 heal 440 to 500. Living Forge is going to be 8 player. You know this used to be 10. Tell me inflation doesn't exist, and then you see Living Forge being buffed to 9 combats and now to 8. Is there too much power in TFT? So Living Forge is really good, obviously, with any comp that runs Ornn. So if you're playing like Shadow Owls, you know you're going Wardens, like Living Forge is probably going to be pretty solid, assuming you hit Ornn. Another way to make Living Forge work is if you have a reroll comp that really likes artifact items. And lastly, if you run a lot of different carries, like team comps that use a lot of different items, similar to like Component Heist, Living Forge is also going to be pretty good for you. Max build initial rerolls is going to be 10 to 8. Max build second duplicator is going to be on stage 6-2 now. Okay, that's good. I hate this augment so much. Like everyone just gets 3-star 4 costs and it's really annoying. So I am glad that they are nerfing this. But you know what's funny? They get the 3-star 4 cost before the 6-1 duplicator. So they're still going to get it on stage 5-5. I know they have 2 fewer rerolls, but like I swear everyone who takes this augment just gets them 3-star 4 cost before they get their second duplicator, which is absolute nonsense. I don't know how they're doing it. Okay, that's a lie. I did it once too, but it feels annoying. I swear they always get it before this, so I don't know if this actually matters. Like, yeah, I know 2 rerolls is 2 rerolls, but that's 4 gold. Like, everyone's got 4 gold, right? Makeshift armor no longer offered on stage 4-2. It's also no longer offered with loot subscription. Like, honestly, makeshift, this is like one of the casualties of the inflation, you know? Because everyone's got more items now. Item augments give more stuff. Like they added even more components to the game with like Crownswell adding a chain vest and a rod, Big Friend granting belt. So it's like makeshift is just a lot worse now. They should honestly buff this even more because you also have to factor in like all the portals we have that give a bunch of random items. Like, yeah, makeshift's time. I don't remember what the initial numbers were when it first came out because this was like years ago, right? When makeshift first came out, and it was one of my favorite augments. But back then there are much fewer items, so it was a lot better back then. Like, was it always 45? Like, I honestly don't remember. If someone has the record book or whatever for what the first makeshift armor looked like where it was like good, let me know. Promise protection, additional mana from all sources, going to be buffed up. Fix a visual bug with the mana. Mana bonus now works properly with multiple Protector's Vow equipped, and then mana bonus now works with Radiant Protector's Vow. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. By the way, if you ever get one of those item augments that improve an item, the Radiant also always works for it. Seekers of the Sand gold gain 6 to 10. Spear's Will 12 to 8% AD, and it now also gives a tier, so this gives you a sword and a tier now. Lots of items. Solo leveling durability 25 to 20. Tactician's Kitchens round to receive Tactician's Cape 6 to 3. World Runes bonus 4 to 6. Treasure Hunt gold spent on rerolls 20 to 16. Treasure Hunt stage 5 treasure random artifact is going to be changed to Artifact Anvil. So that's definitely a buff there. So if you have this with the reroll buffs, I think this is going to be pretty good. I mean, I like this more for 1 cost reroll, but for 2 and 3 cost, maybe you could get away with 2 cost reroll with Treasure Hunt. 3 cost, it might be a little bit too late. It really depends if you are able to get enough gold to like get that going. Like maybe it has to be like gold subscription to play it. But yeah, honestly with 2 costs, it probably is going to be good enough. Trials of Twilight, Xin Zhao 2-1. Yeah, they needed to nerf this one. Number of duplicators 3-2. Okay, makes sense. This was by far like one of the best augments. Twin Guardians now grants flat 100 HP, and armor and MR can be dropped by 5. Is that a nerf? I feel like this is a nerf. I feel like you'd rather have the 5 armor and MR. I don't actually know, because normally when you play Twin Guardians, you have 2 beefy people out there already, so they already have a lot of health. I don't know if that 100 health is going to help. I didn't do the math, but I'm thinking 5 resistances might be a little bit more valuable. Not too sure. Warlords honor initial stack 0-1. Warlord's honor AD and AP gain 5-6, and then we stick together can no longer offer Warden, Defender, Bruiser, and Juggernaut emblems. This is the one that gives you a random augment, and then like your teammates who have that same trait get an additional buff from it. Wood Axiom HP gained is going to be changed from 40 to 55, and then now we have the small changes. Lucky Gloves tooltip updated to recommended item to better match its functionality, and then bug fixes. Evolve and Overcomes tooltip adjusted to reflect it only triggers on champion takedowns. Rise with Ixtal active will no longer stack traits while fielded on the bench. Ixtal's end of combat with no items on bench quest no longer progresses if the trait is not active. Fix a bug where the inbound pedestal color on the Cafe de Paris arena is darker. And then Zon units, we already went over that one. A revival of festivals, don't care. But pretty big changes overall. I think reroll is going to be pretty good. Like, they buffed a lot of 2 and 3 cost reroll. I know that there weren't many of them played before, but you got to keep in mind, whenever one is good, the others become infinitely better. So I think we might be in a reroll patch. I'm glad that they didn't nerf the 4 cost too hard. Like, normally when they do this, they nerf the 4 cost in like a billion ways. Like, they'll nerf Bel'Veth, they'll nerf Rift Herald, they'll nerf Kaisa, they'll nerf Yunara, they'll nerf Void Synergy, they'll nerf Ionian Synergy, they'll nerf the 1 and 2 cost item holders such as Briar, Kiana, and like Jin or something like that. They'll even nerf Shen. Normally they do that when they nerf a comp that was dominating for a while, which was true. Like, Bel'Veth was the best comp, and then Yunara has been meta for like the whole set, right? Normally they do that, but they didn't do that. So they should still be playable, and then ideally, the 2 and 3 cost buffs weren't so big that everyone only plays them, because I'm more scared of the 3 costs. The 2 costs I don't think are that big of buffs, but I think some of the 3 costs, they have some cool places you can kind of play them in. So I definitely am excited to try that out. If you ever get Double Trouble, I feel like there are a lot of Double Trouble comps out there for the 3 costs. Like Mundo and Jinx, they share a trait. Malzahar, you could do it with Nautilus and Loris. Zoe plus Leona definitely can use it. LeBlanc and Darius. There are a lot of like combos you can use with Double Trouble. I think it's going to be a pretty good augment in this next patch. So definitely look out for that. But I am going to be releasing the tier list on bunnymuffins.lol. Don't forget about the giveaway on Facebook. I'll leave a link down in the comments section. But I'll be updating the tier list tomorrow when the patch comes out. But before then, you could always do some data checks on teamfight.lol. I don't know where everyone lives, but the servers that get the patch first is like Australia and Japan. I think C might get it too first. I forget exactly who gets it absolutely first, but they always load up some data for us before I play. I play in North America. So when I wake up, there's already like 12 hours worth of data out there, which isn't a lot, but it is enough to kind of just get a gauge on how good everything is. So sometimes I check it, sometimes I don't. But if I am tryharding, I definitely am checking it just to see what's going on out there. And you just get to know every single change and how they kind of affect everything. So we could look up like Darkened Staff, for example, and just see how it's doing in the new patch. Like the number to beat is 3.67, but it also has to be used on like actual champions, not like fake ones, you know. Like I feel like Ornn doesn't really count because he just gave it to himself, right? But another thing to look out for might be the Arcanist build or like the 3 cost build, right? So you type in Arcanist here, go to 6 Arcanist, and then you check it out. Or you just select all of them and you kind of see what's happening there too. Or you go to champions and then type in 3, and then you know how good the 3 cost rerolls are. Just look at the 3-star average placement and look at the 3-star rate, and then you get a pretty good idea of whether the comp's viable or not. But that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.